Alrighty, welcome back guys. Here we are jumping in to our next match tonight, the first semi-final that we're going to be covering of the Go4WoT Asia June Finals. We're here with a match between the SuperNoobs and BTI, who are doing battle on Himmelsdorf for their first map, and we've already got some of the tank picks underway, so let's go ahead and take a look at those ones. So for Reaperman92, who's picking for BTI, they've elected to go with two IS-3s as their first two tank picks, locking in that tier 8 Russian heavy tank. SuperNoobs, they've responded with two AMX 5100s, that French tier 8 heavy, of course with that very powerful auto-loading cannon in it. Reaperman92 there, 5100 and a T32. I think Reaperman is going to be on the attack there. Okay, so yeah, going for a T32 on the attacking side here on Himmelsdorf. Fairly standard pick so far. Okay, two ISs. So the SuperNoobs on the defensive side here, they've elected to lock in those two tier 7 Russian heavy tanks instead of splitting it with one tier 8 and one tier 6 tank, like we do sometimes see there. But SuperNoobs favouring for that, going for that little bit of extra kind of health buffer in terms of hit points, a little bit stronger guns than you'd get, a little bit stronger defense in general than you get with just a tier 8 and a tier 6. But of course they are going to be sacrificing a little bit of scouting potential, not having their tier 6 light. What after that, we have got one IS-3 coming in for the SuperNoobs and an IS-5. Okay, this is a little bit of an interesting pick there from BTI. They're going to be going with that premium tier 8 Russian heavy, the IS-5. But again, I think most of the ISs, I mean, you know, IS-5, IS-3, there's not a huge amount of difference. Of course, the gun is a little bit different between them, but overall, I think really you could swap them out, and it's probably I'd say just a tank that Chibi Decade there might feel a little bit more comfortable playing in here on Himmelsdorf. So we'll have to see how that works out for them. Of course, this is a best of 3. We do swap sides after the first one here. So and then if we do end up getting this one going to a third map, then I'm actually just going to check now, but I believe the third map is, yes, the tiebreaker map if we go to it is Steps. So I'm going to be seeing that after this one, and the call over comes from SuperNoobs, and it looks like everyone is ready to go. There we go. So we're getting the countdown happening. We're going to be jumping in game right now. I'm going to be rolling out with the SuperNoobs, seeing how they do things from the defensive side of Himmelsdorf. And really, I mean, I'm yet to see any play on Himmelsdorf that's kind of super out there. So I'd really just be expecting them to just play it safe. You know, maybe sit a few up around the F1, one or two tier 8 heavies up around that F1 area. You know, send maybe an IS-3 into A4, A5 to look over towards that 2 flag. Nothing too crazy. The only interesting thing on the SuperNoobs lineup of tanks is they don't actually have a T32, which I really like the T32. You can pop it in that A5 area.
Get this show on the road.
It's very hard to get out of there because, of course, T32's frontal turret armor is just about near impossible to penetrate directly from the front. Even with premium rounds in this tier from most tanks. So right now, let's take a look where these guys are rolling out to. They're not going to be going with the T32. Instead, they're going to be going with one AMX 5100, two AMX 5100s, 3 IS-3s, and 2 ISs. And they're going to be driven by the last Hien, Ricky, Sunbow, Call Me Tenchi, Tang, and NT Lock as they head out. So we're seeing some. Actually, this is a little bit of an interesting play here from the SuperNoobs. They're sending these two AMX 5100s up the kind of left of the rail tracks. Normally we see them go up down that one line down the right there, but it's not going to be happening. So let's take a look at where the guys from BTI are going to be heading out towards from the rollout. And in fact, it's also probably a good idea for me to fix up the text there. It seems to be a little bit out of line for no particular reason. But we'll go ahead and get that one all fixed up. There we go. Big shout out to Expert for randomly doing that. But right now, as we're getting the T-32 moving out, IBN Canary is going to be poking this line first, and he might actually be spotted out by Ricky right there, but he's going to win any... IBN Canary is going to win any trades against Ricky here, unless, of course, his frontal turret just there gets hit. That is a weak point on the T-32s. But of course, apart from that, that entire frontal turret is very well armoured, so he should be fine. Meantime, we are seeing all the rest of these tanks from the BTI squad pushing up right now, so the jig is well and truly up for BTI. Now SuperNoobs are going to know exactly what flag they're heading towards. It is, of course, going to be that 2 flag right here, and these tanks, most of them actually managed to cross that dangerous D-line crossing without taking any damage, which is very good news for the attackers right here on BTI. We can see on the mini-map those SuperNoobs, they are rotating, they are responding to this attack right here, with most of their heavy tanks moving right back up as well. We're seeing NT-Lock. He managed to get the kill onto Don Bassett first up, so the tier 6 scout for BTI goes down first. But look at this, so many ricochets coming on towards these IS-3s. Another ricochet coming on. So BTI, the RNG is working in their favour right now. And that IS-3 though, one of them is getting very, very low. That might be Reaper right there. No, but Nexus LFA takes down Corby Tenchi with a shot from his AMX 5100. Suddenly, Reaper Man right here in a little bit of danger. Does manage to ricochet a couple more shots. NT-Lock and Co. getting them on towards Reaper Man. He goes up in flames. Tag with the final shot there. Ricky 48 on 39 HP in his IS-3 right here as well. So really not looking too good for him. Sunbow takes down Chibi Decade 101. That's going to be the IS-5 going down for BTI, who have now lost 2 tier 8 tanks and their tier 6 scouts. So looking good for the defenders right now, the SuperNoobs, but BTI, they've still got a lot of firepower on the field. Ricky 48, oh, that was the wrong move. The IS-3 takes him down, and boom, right after that, another kill for the IS-3s. IBN Canary goes down, and suddenly 2 more BTI tanks are off the field. It's a matter of cleanup right now for the SuperNoobs guys. It's going to be as simple as that. There we go. Nexus gets taken down by NT-Lock. The 110 Errata going to be the last target, and Hien does the business there. So 7 kills to 1 when it's all said and done there in that first half, and the SuperNoobs, they've got to be pretty happy about that performance for sure. And we can take a look on the scoreboard there as well. And we can see up the top, NT-Lock there, 2.3k damage with his AMX 5100. Sunbow 1.6k in the IS-3. Tang 1.4 in his AMX 5100. So overall, some good numbers coming out there for the SuperNoobs. BTI though, well, Nexus definitely did a good job. 1.4k damage, but really not many of them above that 4-digit mark apart from him, unfortunately. Him and IBN Canary. So it's going to be a little bit back to the drawing board for the BTI squad. Of course, now they are on the defensive side here on Himmelsdorf. So we're going to be seeing how well it works for them here. And it is going to be up to BTI to get the first tank picks in now. Personally, I'd like to see, I mean, definitely a T-32. They did pick a T-32 on the attack there, but I want to see them keep the T-32 in defense. Maybe get rid of the IS-5. I mean, just seems a little bit pointless when you can just pick an IS-3, to be honest. What else? What else have they got? I mean, they've got the AMX 5100s. They've got the IS-3s on the defense. I mean, the question is always on Himmelsdorf, whether you want to go for that extra tier, or that double tier 7 or tier 8, tier 6 with a scout. So, and looks like BTR might be picking their tanks in the wrong channel there, which isn't good news, but hopefully we can get them rerouted. There we go, T-32 and a 110. I actually quite like the 110. It's got a very nice gun on it, very similar armor to the IS-3 as well. So, fairly viable pick. We're getting 2 IS-3s coming in for Call Me Tenchi. And Uber dropping the knowledge bombs in chat there, which proves I really should sharpen up on my my tier 8 tanks, or just my tanks in general, because I did not actually know that the IS-5 had slightly better, well, was slightly better in every way apart from turret armor. I did not actually know that, but there you go. So turret armor, of course, the only real reason in that case to go for the IS-3. But I suppose a lot of the IS is that turret. So not a bad idea to protect that one, but there we go. We're going to be getting that one locked in as well. What else have we got on the field? Reaperman 92 there with 2 IS-3s coming in for BTI. Call Me Tenchi responding there. He's already picked 2 IS-3s for SuperNoobs. Going to be going with 2 AMX 5100s for the SuperNoobs right after that. Yep, and an AMX 5100 and an IS-5 there for the guys from BTI. T32 and a T37 from the SuperNoobs, and a T37 from Reaperman. So there we go. Overall looking fairly standard here, and only major difference in the lineup is that SuperNoobs, of course, this time going to be going for that extra scout tier 6 and tier 8 setup instead of 2 tier 7s here on the attack. Fairly standard. Exactly what we're used to seeing on the attack here on Himmelsdorf. But apart from that, nothing too crazy. So, in this one, with SuperNoobs 1-up, I mean, just thinking about what went wrong there for BTI last game, I mean, it did seem as though they might have waited a little bit too long to actually fully commit. To fully commit to the push on towards that 2 flag, or if they were actually wanting to play it like super safe, they could have just, I mean, there's 2 ways I feel you can play that 2 flag attack from the banana line there. You can either go straight up it, make sure you don't get spotted, or make sure that by the time you're spotted you're fully committed. You don't wait at all when you get to the 2 flag. You get all of your tanks right onto the flag. I felt as though BTI might have waited like an extra even 15 seconds there too long, or extra 10 seconds just for their back tanks to catch up, that lets SuperNoobs rotate their 2 AMX 5100s back towards them. Or of course you can play that flag the way that well, you just go for pokes and try and poke out the opposing team, which really they actually had the ability to do last round, because the defenders didn't have that T32, and yeah, because the defenders didn't have that T32 in the A4, A5 area, I reckon at least. But either way, going to be jumping in towards this next round here and seeing how SuperNoobs play the attack this time, as we get this one out of the way. And it's looking like, okay, NT lock in. He's actually going to be heading up the hill. So that's going to be 1 AMX 5100. They're sending the T37 up the hill as well. Yes, so NT lock in here. Going to be going up the hill there with the last and co. Heading up the banana. With 1, 2, 3 IS-3s. And I think that T32, yep, also heading up there with 1 AMX 5100 in tow. So I actually want to take a look at NT lock up here on the top, as we see it's a very, very passive defense coming out there on the mini-map from BTI. They're not sending anyone down towards the kind of right of the railway tracks that we do quite often see here. It's just going to be NT lock, having a look up, seeing if he can spot anyone up here. Here as well. But those tanks, they've definitely been spotted there. That T37 Don Bassett certainly has some eyes on those guys. There we go. One shot is going to miss that T37. Another one coming in. So, oh yeah, 2 shots missed there from NT lock, and that's it's not going to be too good for him. But I'm sure he'll be jumping right down. And the question is, do they wait for a reload from NT lock, or do they wait? Do they just go out and not worry about the 2 shots which he doesn't have? Look at that though, the T32 that pokes around the corner. That's going to be Ivan Canary, dropped down to 412 HP very, very quickly there. We've got all of the SuperNoobs retreating back and playing this one really nicely. I like this. They're just shooting, ducking behind corner, shooting, ducking behind another corner right here as well, as we see the entire BTI squad barreling down on them. But BTI, they do manage to take down Ricky. One of them goes down. That's going to be Chibi Deke falling there in the streets, as they are actually all barreled up right in towards this street. I don't like this positioning from BTI, and we're seeing Nexus going down right there. He's dropped by, I think that was NT Lock. Tang takes down IBN Canary with that shot, and suddenly the SuperNoobs are looking very, very good right now. That street was a bad idea to push into for the defenders here on Himmelsdorf. But right now here in the T-37, trying to distract those heavier tanks a little bit. It's not going to work. They're going to focus on their opposing heavies. But right now, it's going to be looking very, very grim for this IS-3 here. I think that's Reaper Man. Yes, it is. Reaper Man goes down. We do see the last go down as well. Ricky finds him, but at the moment, it is 4 Tier 8s taking on 1. And it is a matter of time before Ricky goes down. There we go. As Don Bassett, the last man standing for, well, he's not the last man standing anymore for BTI. So just like that, very convincing win for SuperNoobs. And taking a look at the team score there, we've got Call Me Tenchi up the top for SN, 2.2k damage. The last managed to crack 2k as well, dealing 2,037. Tang with 1.6k, Sunbow 1.5k. And over on the other side, the top scorer for BTI was Nexus with 1.5k damage there as well. So can't be too disappointed with that, I feel, but overall BTI definitely getting a little bit outclassed here on Himmelsdorf by the SuperNoobs. And SuperNoobs, of course, they've taken home enough first places for various Go4WoTs in their time. They know what they're doing. This is the monthly finals, so there's no mucking around from the SuperNoobs here, and that is exactly what we just saw. So that's going to mean that they are advancing now in towards, well, they're advancing in towards the grand final. And they're going to be meeting the winner of the match between the Swordfishers and B Gaming. So right now we're going to be jumping off to a quick little break before that one starts off. But don't go anywhere, guys. Right after this, I think we'll either be bringing the semi-final between Swordfishers and B Gaming, or the game for third place. See you then.